Hey, what's really going on around here, people? I am the Admiral. Excuse me. The Admiral. Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Let me turn off all of my devices so that they don't make a bunch of noise. If I could turn back time, if I could find my way. All right, stick around. This will be worth it. I don't know why I can't do this. All right, I'm just going to tap out. If it rings, it rings. Lori Abs, good to see you. What's happening, Jason P? Meredith Lynn, it's an honor to have you here. Lacey Silver, what's happening? Love Mama Bear. Mile High Hokey. I think I said Lori Abs, but I'll say it again. Heather in the library, good to see you. That's Mary. Recognize Blessed to Crochet anywhere. That's how I answered the phone once, people. I've done a couple of shows on it. It's pretty damn funny. It was a real hangover day. Layla, I'm glad you're here. Lacey Silver, what's happening? Deanna Downey, Kelly Gerling was just catching up on Quib's last live. Put it on hold to watch you. That's not a bad idea as long as you go back. No bone phone during the streaming. Good call. That's probably a pretty good rule to stick with. Chrissy Akers, glad you're here. Hey, it's West Coast Fancy Nancy. I saw East Coast Fancy Nancy earlier. Koala Lou, how are you? Hey, Carol. I'm honored to have you here. Judy Lee, and there's Miss Smokes. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Have I ever said hi to you? If not, I apologize, and welcome to the boat. Anna Banana, good to see you. Carol Barnhart. Shannon Smith. I saw Shannon Smith for the first time the other day. It's always a trip when you see someone that you've never seen before. I saw her with Bacon Bits. Ben Turner did a hell of a show, actually, the both of them. Really was good stuff. Angie, good to see you. The Nurse Who Loved Me. There you go. Sandy Wandy Gamer. Jackie. Hi, Tommy. I picked up the 4 books in one of the Hitchhiker's Guide tonight at our little charity stack at work. I love it. I love it. You're not going to regret that. Those books are fantastic. But first, coffee. Susie Oberholtz, I'm glad you're here. I really am. This is going to be fun tonight, people. This isn't going to be tough to get through. This is going to be craps and giggles, actually. And I'll explain all that in a second. But you're going to have a good time tonight, I promise you. Scoob, what's happening? Having us Dad Conroe got a journal and started journaling. Going to put second post for today in. People's lives are changing. People's lives are changing. I promise you. Dan C., glad you're here. I promise you, lives are changing. It's a pretty simple concept. When you open that up, when you allow that communication between your dome, right, and your brain, 2 different things. Tony Shooter, good to see you. Genuinely. There's nothing worse than a not genuinely. 1 week since I decided to quit alcohol. Can we get everybody to get a little fist in the air, a little pumped up for genuinely? That's a huge deal. The 1 week mark, that is awesome, man. It really is. Marion Calabro. Reese's last live was great. I was glad you were able to be on it. You know what? I'm glad I was able to chime in for a second. I really was. I live for now. Glad you're here. But I'll tell you what's up with that. Lori Hart, down from 2 packs a day to less than half. That is harm reduction. Better today than she was a week ago. I love that. Ann, good to have you here. Now let's fire this thing up. Shelly Kelly. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Angie Moe. I'm almost there, I promise. Kathy Ann, 7th. Mary. All right. If I missed you, I love you. And you know that I'm telling you the truth because that's what we do here. If you're brand new to the boat, I talk a lot about recovery, but it's probably not why I got 20,000 subscribers. I got 20,000 subscribers because I also am a commentator, for lack of a better way to put it, on criminal cases and things like that. Very often, it's not that I'm weighing in necessarily on the case, but towards the end of the case, when they say this person's going to end up in prison and they're going to end up in prison with this particular jacket, which means, the paperwork that follows you into prison. They want to know what's going to happen to those individuals. And that's kind of how I got rolling, right? That's kind of how I got rolling. Yeah, Lori, we'll get back to those, I promise. But that's over on CNC. But this is what I do. And it's very often on true crime. And very often I will get asked to kind of just reframe a crime in my words, because I kind of have a different take. And sometimes I just make it either easier to understand, or I kind of make it entertaining while we talk about it. So I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about exactly what's going on in my partner's life, briefly as hell, because what I really want to talk about kind of is the whole process of how everything happens. I'm gonna have a lot of fun. I think you guys will dig it too. But I'm going to start by saying this. I remember once on a live feed, I think I might have been on Real Table Reese, but Reese said, what does Tommy call me? I can't remember the name he calls me all the time. Oh, a shrew. And I didn't call her a shrew. I called her the shrew, right? Like the Shakespearean Kate from the comedy Taming of a Shrew. Made it into a musical called Kiss Me Kate. Very, very funny musical. But anyway, the storyline goes that there are two sisters. One, docile as hell. She's just that yes woman who's there for her husband, and she's just like a Stepford wife kind of thing. Just yes, sir, yes, yes, honey, yes, honey, yes, honey. The other sister was Quibble. The other sister was the Shrew. And there's a little side bet that goes on, but the guy who is the most strong-willed person on the planet finds a girl who's the most strong-willed person on the planet, and the two of them try to change the other, and it's an awful lot of fun. Awful lot of fun. It really is. But at that funeral, that was not what you would call romantic. It's not what you would call romance. This dude goes strolling up and goes, yeah, we were waiting to see who's going to take over after your husband dies. Well, hello, you classy SOB. But if you've been in control groups your entire life and you're scared, you're now alone. You've never really been alone. Always had some kind of structure above you. I mean, for the love of God, you've always literally been in a cage. So you got right back into one. Doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't say good things for the cage. It really doesn't. And very shortly in, we know what happened. And I'm not going to rehash all of that stuff. You know what I do want to talk about, though? So you want to be a YouTuber. We've done videos like this before. I'm going to do this for a very small audience, but let's talk about it. So you want to be a YouTuber. Well, you're going to have to deal with some stuff. You're a public figure. Once you go out there into the public, you give up a lot of rights. You really do. Like saying, hey, this person said that about me. Yeah, they did. Now you go ahead and say what you say back, because that's just kind of how it goes. It's almost like mutual combat. What you don't want to do is really be outing or doxing people who have nothing to do with the format, have nothing to do with any of this. That's bad juju. Unless, of course, they've broken the law. Because the ultimate defense, right, for any kind of defamation lawsuit, the ultimate, what makes that go away, the ultimate defense is the truth. If you happen to be telling the truth and you can prove it, you got nothing to worry about. Yes, that's a... I have honestly never thought of this, but you're absolutely right. Hey, Wharton Fissel, good to see you, my brother. I think you're right. I never thought about it, but the Nurse Who Loved Me says, Taming of the Shrew is the movie 10 Things I Hate About You as well. You know, it's got to be something that they keep recycling because it's a really great story. It really is a great story. Now, when I first got the lifeboat up and running, there was a group of people out there that just hated me. Well, they're still there, but they never really got any traction. But they make videos and they say things like, you know, I molest sheep, or, you know, I've had intercourse with a giraffe. They come up with some really incredibly stupid stuff. And they just salaciously throw all of this out into the wind, hoping people might grab it and run with it. But you get pissed off enough and you're going to call an attorney. And I did. And I said to the attorney, I'd like to sue. And I'll tell you what, I can absolutely prove, because they went out and said that I had something on my criminal record that I don't. And I can absolutely prove that I don't. Like, I finally had something. I can prove that what they just said is BS. Easy as hell. All I got to do is roll out my criminal record. And the attorney went, we could do that. He goes, and how much do you think you'll be able to sue for? And I'm like, well, isn't that your job? Like, how the hell would I know? And he goes, well, what are your losses? Well, what do you mean? I'm like, this guy's bumming me out, man. Like, they're bumming me out. They're lying about me, and my kids are seeing it and all that. Right. What did it cost you? Well, it's really pissing me off. And he's like, so it's a mental thing. That's all you got to go on. There's no business. There's no financial anything that it cost you. And no, not really. I said, well, no, I shouldn't say that. You know, about 400 or 500 subscribers left. Well, what's that worth to your business? I don't know. You don't really get paid on subscribers, and it's hard to get. And it's a very difficult thing, especially into the beginning. Space Diesel, good to see you. Be careful in the big city, my friend. But you see where I'm going with this? In order for there to be damages, you actually have to be damaged. Now, I'll give you a great example. Let's say I'm on the doorstep of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe Film Productions, and they have just offered Tommy Scoville a part in a movie, and it's worth $15 million, and the contract is out there, and I'm getting ready to sign the contract, and the phone rings, and the guy from Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe goes, whoa, pump the brakes, dog. We've got a problem. Well, what's the problem? I just got a phone call from a guy named so-and-so, and he said, you have a long criminal history, and you've been arrested for this, 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 and this, and this. Now I could go to court and go, hey, this guy talking trash about me that wasn't true, I'm suing him for defamation. What are your losses? Well, I had a movie I was supposed to do. I had already signed the contract for it and everything. And this lie cost me that contract. Now you can sue for damages. But on the big red button, you can see how that's really, really hard. It's a really hard thing to pull off because damages, I mean, unless somebody shuts your channel down with a lie, but come on, what are the odds of that, right? Really, what are the odds of that? But if you're going to be a YouTuber, people are going to threaten you constantly. You're going to hear more than anything in the world, I'm going to sue you. You'll get letters in the mail that say cease and desist, or you'll get them emailed to you. I have never come across any kind of a law firm that didn't have the paperwork delivered to you by a server so that they can say to the courts, he got that crap at 7:05 in the morning, as opposed to just sending it into my inbox, which might get there as spam, right? But most of the time, this stuff is BS. So don't say things on your channel you can't prove. Pretty simple, right? Hey, Auntie Wombat. Now, don't go out of your way to pick fights with people if you're doing it to build your channel. If that's your business model, stop. Because it's not sustainable. It's never going to work. It won't, right? You might have a good year. You might have a couple of good years. Eventually, people are going to go, so all I do is come here so that you can tell me person A is a piece of crap and a sexual pervert and whatever. B, sexual pervert, he's ripping off people, blah, blah, blah. C, same thing. What are the odds? What are the odds? That's all you do is just tear people down. You're not talking about concepts. You're not talking about, emotions, feelings, things of importance. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. But there are a lot of people that are going to say a lot of things about you, right? If the things that they're saying about you are true, oh well. If the things they're saying about you aren't true, oh well. Honestly, you could spend a fortune to try to get videos taken down, and you could spend a fortune to try to get someone to lose their channel. I had a troll that went after me who lost his channel. 2 actually have lost their channel. I never had anything to do with it. Swear to you. I didn't even go over and write, this guy's doing this to me or this guy's doing nothing. No, I tapped out really early on in that when I figured that almost everything is done by a computer. Tommy, I've seen a podcaster that claims, yes, Shannon Smith, it is about money more often than not, right? Because clicks do equal revenue, right? But you can You can clickbait somebody to come and look at what you got. There's a lot of things that you can do that will trick someone into coming over and checking you out. But then you've got to deliver something to them that makes them feel something, some kind of way. Makes them feel happy, makes them feel angry, makes them feel something. And then have enough of a ability to build a relationship with those people so that this will be long-term. And I don't think that's such an easy thing to do. You know what, KG? I tend to disagree. And I'll tell you why. But prove means you have admissible evidence. You can have all of the receipts in the world, but if you can't get them admitted into evidence, you have a big problem. Well, the recordings were made in one-party states, right? So that's cool. And the computer that these stuff came off of was a mutual computer in a common area in the house that does not have password protection on it. It was open. And this was a computer that all three people in the house used when they saw evidence of, when the Shrew saw evidence of criminal activity. She grabbed the stuff. I promise you. And here's the great part. The great part is, in order for this to even be an issue in terms of admissible evidence, one of two things is going to happen. This entire package is going to get handed off to an agency. That's realistically, that's what's going to happen. The other thing is these people that are all doing all of this and saying how bad they're all getting rooked over, and how they're going to file a lawsuit. They could file a lawsuit, but in the process of doing that, now we can lay everything that we have, because I promise you, in a civil case, everything comes in. No chance in hell it isn't coming in. And when the show is over today, I could take you and you could read emails from Diddy to 10 or 12 other people that in these lawsuits, all of these people, if it's evidence and you got it and took it, right? I promise you it's not going to be an issue. I promise you it's not. I see the podcast that insults his audience with a broad brush and claims to be a prophet. Well, that sounds like a good time. Sounds like a pretty good time. You know what it is? I don't even know that it's intelligence. I spent a crap load of time incarcerated. And there's only certain hustles you can do on the inside to make a little money. And you realize after a while that if you can read and you can write, I'm not being arrogant, I'm being dead serious. A lot of people in there with some learning disabilities. So if you can read and write and you have a decent personality, then you can sell your services in the law library to help people file motions and do things like that. And it is an absolute landslide of money if you're any good at it. And more often than not, you're taking things that have already been written and you're just putting somebody else's name in it. But you end up reading all of these statutes and you end up reading a lot of this stuff. And what I find funny is they're confusing a criminal case, right, versus something that somebody files a lawsuit, which would be a civil case. But these people are saying, you know, what she's doing is going to get her landed in prison. No, this would have been a civil thing. And they're saying, no, there's a crime statute for no, there isn't. Read that. Read it. It was done in 1986. I know the law. I promise you, read it. Thank you, Tommy, so much. Mudslinging happened in so many spaces I watch. I am proud of you for explaining so eloquently. Thankfully, I see through bullhickey 99% of the time, but some are easily swayed. And sadly, more often than not, people who really dig you say, you know what? I'm not going to let this person say this about Tommy. I'm not going to let this person say this about Quibs. I'm going to go watch every video this piece of crap does to make sure they're not talking bad about my friends. It only takes about 1,000 people to have the same idea to turn that person into a profitable YouTuber that will stick around. Right? When you hit the button to view something, it's like walking into the ballot box and saying, I'm voting for this channel. And if you don't see it that way, that's okay. I'm not mad at you. But do me a favor, because I say this all the time, and there are people that don't get the memo. If you come across a video tomorrow and it's got my picture and it says, Tommy Scoville killed a family of 5 last Saturday, I don't need you to take a screenshot and send it to me. Trust and believe it didn't happen. And I don't let stupid trash into my life. I don't. If it's complete and utter nonsense, I'm not going to waste my time bringing it into my life. And no matter what this dude tells me, right? No matter what anybody tells me. Yeah, anyway, you know what I'm saying. This is, I'll be repeating. To be admitted, it has to be authenticated by a person who can testify to its authenticity. Example, pictures either the photographer or someone present at the time it was taken has to testify. CAG, there are 700 ways that that's wrong. I'm sorry. That will stand up. You can also go in and show that if this came off of a internet server, and you can show this would be a bad idea. Send me an email and I'll tell you every single way that they can verify all of those things without having any of the parties involved. However, in every one of these, both parties are committing felonies. And I'll tell you something, they're going to threaten both parties. And one is going to be smart enough to go, they are the ringleader. I promise. They're going to say, here you go. Well, it's not going to be a state law on this one, Shannon, because everything that they're doing is fed. This is all federal. Everything. This is all federal. It does depend on state laws if it is a state crime. But once the feds pick it up, you're being prosecuted by a federal prosecutor in one of 9 district courts, I think, federal district courts. And that is very unique. If you happen to be in the 4th Circuit or you happen to be in the 9th Circuit, which covers a lot of different states, but California is a part of, and they're very, very liberal. And most guys would like to have their appeals heard in the 9th Circuit because you got a much better chance as an inmate of them siding with you. But the federal thing is really, really odd. No, we're not charging you any money to comment. That would have been a hell of an idea, though. I'm kidding. No, some people like to support the podcast, and they will throw up $5, $10. Some people really support the channel and throw up large amounts of money so that we can continue to do this, right? It keeps me from having to have a job at 7-Eleven, which would make it more difficult to to put this content together, and more importantly, to work with people who are trying to get sober and change their life. Franklin MC, good to see you. You know what? Love it. Good thing I built a better life back. I'm a retired lawyer and still advise on how to collect evidence. Well, that would be a good, reach out to me. I have a soft spot for lawyers. I think I may have married one once. The first book that I ever got, I'm not, obviously, I am a jailhouse paralegal. I'm not even a jailhouse lawyer. I'm a jailhouse paralegal, but spent a lot of time writing up stuff. And the Georgetown law book of the rules for evidence, that thing's like 9 inches thick for the feds. That was the first book I ever got. Actually, it was a bank robbery case, and they were trying to hit me for this criminal mastermind crap. Like, what I was doing was such this massive crime thing that I was some kind of a leader. If you're the only person who's doing it, I don't think they'll be able to call you a criminal leader. But as it turns out, I ended up copping a plea, and all that went away anyway. A Tribe Called Duff. I recently had an issue with an alcoholic content creator who slandered me and my son on 2 live YouTube videos. Thankfully, they have been taken down by her now, but YouTube did nothing about it. I'm sorry, YouTube's not going to do anything about it. The best that you can hope for is to block people on your own platform and then exercise your right to not go look at jackasses. I've gotten very good at it. Deanna Downey says, paralegal retired. Love it. Very smart paralegal crim. Honestly, I was making a lot of money and not having to do a lot because the crack laws had just been changed. As our retired attorney could tell you, there was a time where powdered cocaine got you a lot more time in prison than, rock cocaine got you a lot more time in prison than powder, which is really kind of racist because of how the stuff was being sold. It was really targeting one specific ethnic group. So they overturned the laws, and they had to, if all you had to do was file, right? You really just had to file, and they were going to redo the math, and you were going to get a lot of time off your sentence. But there weren't enough jailhouse attorneys to do it. And not only was I doing these things, because all I was doing was putting in someone else's name, their register number, and the terms of their sentence, how long they've been down, when they got when the sentence started, all of that crap. I was hiring guys from my unit to come in and just write, type, do all of those things just to try to make more money. Franklin MC says, I am healing. My laparoscopic incision sites itch today. Well, my friend, one of my pet peeves is the itching at any kind of. I've had a lot of surgeries, and I hate that feeling. Which is funny because I like the itching feeling that is brought on by opiates. Loved it, but the one around the wound, I would sit there and scratch that until I bled. Yeah, truthfully, where the real problem comes in is what it costs to get evidence admitted in legal fees and subpoenas and process service, etc. So, it's honestly, I hope they come. I hope they come hard. I really do. Let's dump everything on the table, because I'll tell you something, people. Why did she do this today? Because she wanted people to realize that this isn't a bluff. But these people are out there going, yeah, she's got nothing. She's got nothing. She's got nothing. Trust me, she's got a crap load. And all of those other people, that people say, hey, that was mailed off to me. I got it. I put it in a closet. That was mailed off to me. I sealed it in an envelope. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm not looking at it. Oh, I read it. Absolutely. Front and back, forward and backwards. I read the thing a bunch of times. Yeah. You know what? It would really be a question that would be better for a prosecutor, right? But if you think about what RICO is set up to do, it's set up to be able to charge an entire group of people as if they were one person, right? It would be like if somebody gets unalived and there were 6 guys or 7 guys that they can sort of tie to this, they can charge every one of them, or they can charge an entire street gang, which has happened, right? They charge everybody, and under the RICO statute, they can all get locked up for one case. For the cause, I have been blessed and paying it forward. Thank you all for being in this amazing safe space. I wish I could share my garden with everybody. New Hampshire growing is amazing this year. My heart loves community, and this is a wonderful one. You know what? I love New Hampshire. New Hampshire and Vermont are kind of doing this like 69 thing, what I'm talking about. And I was always on the other side of the Connecticut River in Vermont, but I loved it. Also asked in Restream, but since the Royal Order of Jesters and Fat Boy J are bad mouthing and lying on Reese, isn't that legally considered slander? Slander is when you're writing it down, I think, and talking about it, I believe, is defamation. Now, Reese, again, like if you wanted to get to that point and say, well, how is this damaging her? Honestly, what is the damage financially? How is this? And it's not damaging her financially. It's not. The people that are talking crap are doing it on non-existent platforms, that have very few people that are looking at it. It's not affecting her. It might be bumming her out that people keep reaching out and going, oh man, you're not going to believe what I just read. But I don't know that she's ever had to deal with that before. Every YouTuber has had to deal with this a couple of times, and she's really tough. Also, keep in mind, nobody is going to sue you civilly unless you have deep pockets. That's right. Because very often you can go in there and you get a judgment, and the person just decides, I'm not going to pay it. It's a very difficult, it really is a difficult thing. Unless, of course, the person's got super, super deep pockets. So might want to go after me, because how 4 years out, I'm rolling in it. Hey, Nicola Mack. Hi, was the Bush presidents Freemasons? I know their roots run deep. The number of presidents who are also Freemasons is staggering. It's absolutely staggering. It really is. I don't remember off the top of my head if the Bushes were. However, they did definitely come through that Skull and Bones, like that secret society that they have at Yale. That was another one that a lot of, again, it's always a bunch of dudes taking their clothes off and acting weird. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I don't care what your sexual habits or proclivities are. I honestly don't care what you want to do. But it seems to me that with all of these secret organizations and these secret societies, it always comes back to a bunch of dudes, showing their junk to each other for long periods of time, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. Save yourself a hell of a lot of money and just go to that part of town, hang out in the bars. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's 2024, man. Kim Roy says, Jesters won't sue her. They can't afford exposure and discovery. Yeah, I don't think they would like all of everything to come out. I really don't think they would. Slander is spoken, libel is written. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, and I'll tell you something else. Once all of this started to break, one of the things that I heard all the time is, hey, I went over and looked at his Twitter feed. You know something, people? The country got so divided that there's a lot of people saying a lot of really stupid crap on man, before you hit send and before you proofread, maybe think to yourself, is this mean? Am I sending this out in the hopes of hurting people's feelings? Am I sending this out in the hopes of doing what? Because I'm telling you, if the world did that, we'd live in a better place. But boy, oh boy, are we quick to send off just some of the dumbest things, man. Kristen Melina says, howdy, lifeboat fam. Rough night with the kiddo. So we'll have to catch replay. Just wanted to say hello. Well, I hope that the little human has a better night, Kristen Melinda, and we love you. We're always glad to see you, but I hope it gets better. There you go. You often see newspapers sued for libel for obvious reasons, right? Because it's going to be written, and usually they got deep pockets, right? And a lot of times I think that newspapers will run with stories that maybe they know haven't really been vetted properly. If they're trying to get that storyline out, I think that can get a little dangerous. Spike, we are not upset with you. A little late is not bad. Kathy, they do not do fundraising in the sense of the word, like they're raising money for charities kind of thing. They're not doing telethons because this group doesn't donate to anything. It's actually in the charter. When you read it, they are not going to go and donate money to this organization or to that organization. This is about getting drunk, gambling, and whoring. Lack of a better way to put it. That's what it is about. This is it's an exclusive, right? Luxury living fraternity. We're going to head on down to the Holiday Inn at the Clackamas Airport. Oh, my Lord. Where one floor will be roped off so that we can have oral sex contests, with roomfuls of overweight men. And if that just doesn't sound like fun, later on we're going to be paddling each other's backsides. And good God in heaven, man. How are they tax exempt, WP? Well, I guess this does depend on states, right? Because they're all over the United States, and there are going to be some laws that are different than others. But this book, right? They don't go to parties, they go to books, and they act out a play at every one of these. And it's an actual play, right? It's all dudes like they used to do with Shakespeare. And this is about the book is about the death of Shakespeare. That's what the play is about. And it's the play of the book, or the book of the play, the book of the play. And they're using this in most places as a very rough affiliation to say, hey, man, we're just keeping history alive, right? The bard from Stratford-on-Avon is being forgotten in this part of the world. And, we defenders of mirth and drunken merriment are going to keep the words and the spirit of the bard alive. Well, if you're doing something historical and you're blah, 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 you basically can get that You can fly under the radar with that crap, and that's kind of what they're doing. You think Shakespeare is past with their associating him with their... Oh, yeah, he's pissed. There's no question. I don't think he would be very happy, Kathy. I really don't. But yeah, look, most of these kind of secret societies, right? Most of these kind of secret societies, they got to find an angle. They got to find a hustle, right? They really do. So if you're not going to be donating to charities and you're not going to be a religion, you sawed off little garden gnome. Sorry. Never can pass up an opportunity to be short with what's his name, the fake leader of the Space Navy. Yeah, so look, and it should grind your gears because we're paying taxes, right? We're paying taxes. You're paying taxes on everything that you're earning and everything you're bringing in. But this organization, look, I was said on Quib's show, there is a case that is now public record. You can go and read all of that stuff, right? You can absolutely read everything and look at it. And in Oklahoma, they were charging these guys $1,000 a pop, right? So if you had 150 of them in your little court, right, you raised $150,000. That's a hell of a party. I mean, it ain't a Diddy party, right? P. Diddy would drop a couple of million on a party, but he had a business involved too, a lot bigger than what they were doing. He was blackmailing everybody. Gamer Jackie says, Tommy, if you would like, I was in Stratford-upon-Avon in June. I have photos of his wife's childhood home, the Anne Hathaway house. No kidding. Yeah, that's very cool. To be short with Davey, you like that? You know, sometimes I get a good feeling. Yeah, you know what's really funny? What's really funny is these people that take the high road on the stupidest stuff in the entire world, right? You know, you get something in your mailbox that's addressed to the wrong address, and it's not a letter, it's not a check, it's like a circular. And you go to throw the thing in the trash, and they go, "Oh, no, what are you kidding? That's mail fraud. I can't do that, man. Laws mean things." These are the same guys that are going out on the weekends and gambling illegally and going to a whorehouse. You just call it whatever you want, man. It's a whorehouse. In fact, it's worse than that. Whorehouses, you're not doing it in front of every single guy. Like they got little rooms sectioned off like these freaks. It really has something to do with the brotherhood. That's more important than everything. It's time to leave your loved ones and go home to your families. Yeah, that's jacked. That's jacked. Now, there's no evidence to back up what I'm about to say. Did you hear that? I'm going to say it one more time. There is no evidence at all to back up what I'm about to say. This is a theory that I'm going to put forth. It is my theory. This theory belongs to no one else that I know of. Although I think I'm going to get a whole bunch of people that are going to go, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I think that this entire group might be on the down low. There have been some buttons that Quib and I have come across that are absolutely very, very friendly to the LGBTQ community, which is odd because you wouldn't think that that's something that would jive with these guys. But particularly San Francisco had some very gay, erotic stuff on some of the Jester pins. And there's a lot of time that these guys spend naked around each other, literally butt to butt kind of stuff, hip to hip, right? And you heard some of the stuff she was reading today, you know, you're going to be done with so-and-so at 2:00 and I'll be sneaking in the back door at 3 kind of thing. It's, what the hell, man? I mean, this is just really disgusting, foul, and rotten and wrong, right? And rotten and wrong. I was married to a biker, national officer of an international MC, but I was always respected. Wow, that's awesome, because a lot of times they have names for those girls and they end up getting, that can be really, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you were treated with respect. I love that. I really do. I love that. There have been comparisons of the ROJ and with Eyes Wide Shut. The difference of wild sex parties in huge mansions versus the local Holiday Inn is a humorous one. Yeah, it is a humorous one. And in Eyes Wide Shut, you just got the impression that there were a lot of Bentleys parked out back, right? Probably a couple Aston Martins, and there were a lot of people wearing bespoke suits, made with fine Italian fibers, and it's just a little different. I think that I think this organization uses money so that they don't have to feel inadequate in every other part of their life. For real. Now you have now you go have sex. Guaranteed, no one's going to laugh at you no matter what happens. They're going to make you think it was the greatest thing that ever happened because that's what you're paying for, right? For real, that's what you're paying for. I'd rather stick around, maybe get to know the person, maybe get good at it. I don't know. What do I know? His brothers in the MC still stay in touch. He died in 2010. I'm sorry for your loss. I really am. I'm sorry for your loss. Hey, LeBone's Creations. When I got out of prison after the bank robbery sentence, and I was married, my wife's, some relative of my wife, I can't remember how they were married, how they were related, but they looked more like sisters. She used to be married to a guy who was a very high up in a motorcycle club. And I remember going over to see him, and this is the nicest guy in the whole world. Like when I walked out of there, I was like, that dude used to head up, and it's a fairly famous club too. I was like, really? And she said, yeah, he's still in it, but Barbie, it's good to see you. I feel great. I really do. I feel good. And I think my partner probably is pretty relieved. I really want you guys to realize the hell that this had to be to sit on this for as long as she has. Right? For real. There are going to be armchair quarterbacks that talk crap for the entire time. Why didn't you go right to the police? Because I couldn't tell you which one of them was Jester or not. I couldn't tell you which judge that I didn't want to get in front of, or I did. At that point, they had not, Otho had not gotten a hold of the handbook the recently diseased. I knew a big guy named Tiny from the Outlaws. He was super sweet. They didn't call him Tiny Roadblock, did they? I knew a guy named Tiny Roadblock. It's one of the biggest dudes you ever saw in your life. Especially with her being as open as she is. Yeah. This is a girl that doesn't pull any punches. She really doesn't. But this had to be really difficult. The first time she told me about it, I mean, we're closing in on a year ago. The first time she told me about it, and as just a friend, right? Not as a love interest of any kind, I promise you, but just as a friend, to keep saying your day is going to come where you're going to be able to blow this out. And in the beginning, God bless her, but in the beginning, her thought was, it doesn't matter where I go, they're always going to be there. It doesn't matter what part of the country I go to. It's just boys being boys. No, it's people that scare individuals so much. We know for a fact that there are women out there right now who have reached out and talked to Quibs, who say, no, I've been hiding for all intents and purposes, in plain sight. But they don't talk about this. They never any talk. It's a sad thing, people. It really is. The treatment of women and family by Jesters is based on coercive control. It's based on Darvo, deny, attack, and reverse victims and offender. You know what, Spike? Well played. Well played. Chrissy Never in Newton says, you and Reese are powerhouses of amazing energy. You guys will be so healthy growing together. Wow, thank you. Honesty is refreshing with companions. Secrets make you sick. Some of the other stuff that was really funny because you guys are sending me little snippets and screenshots. This was said. I'm not mad at you. If you sent them, you were people that I'd never said this to before, but I don't care, man. It literally means nothing. You don't have to send it out. But I understand why people do. I really do. And they're coming from a nice place, for real. But one of the things that somebody sent me, it's just a matter of time before, I'm being fair gamed by my partner. Yeah. And we've already gotten in two really big arguments that he's aware of. You could ask anybody on the on Cults and Crims how many good arguments me and Quibs have gotten, and you'd all know the answer better than them. Do you have anybody that can back up your story? Ask anybody in the chat. They'll tell you the story and go, oh, I love that episode. What was that? It was about July. This is a video vlog and a journal we do every day. If I'm not live, she is. Yeah, sometimes I get a good feeling. It's really funny. I'll be rusty. It's really funny. The way that people, no one thinks they're a dirtbag until they can get out of, we get in a bubble that we can't see through. There was a time where I was addicted to opiates that I was still telling myself I was in control. I was still telling myself, yeah, you're doing too much, man. Like, you need to back off, but, no, man. No, I know exactly who you meant. I know exactly who you meant. They're telling themselves that it's the rest of the world. I think a t-shirt would be ROJ, gaslighting women for 102 years. Literally, the response is, you go and say, I got a picture of you standing there, and this girl has got your shebangans in her, blah, blah, boop, nothing. No, that didn't happen. That's not me. That's not a picture in your hand. You're insane. Do you hear yourself? You're insane. That's the nastiest crap in the entire world. You know that, right? Seriously. I mean, that's like some really ugly, MK Ultra, playing with people's brains, and in general, just being a worthless prick. Now, great lesson on it doesn't matter what you believe in time, right? Because you can call it karma, or you can call it sin, or you can call it whatever the hell you want. But if you keep being a rotten human being, it will sooner or later catch up with you. Happened to me. Happened to everybody else I know. The question becomes, when you are busted and staring into the abyss, what decision do you make? Because that will determine whether or not you stay in the abyss. It may be a little late for these cats. I really might. You know how much you have to desensitize yourself to be able to do this? Honestly. Think about this for a second. Think about guys that are going out 60, 50, whatever, 45, whatever, and they're out hiring girls that are a couple of years younger than their daughters. Or you've heard the stories of the old men, the really old men that just hire the girls to play with their boobs or whatever. Granddads. Okay? These women are, the age of your granddaughters. I'm sorry, I'm creeped the hell out by that. It's legal and all that, but it's just creepy. Really creepy, man. I don't understand the arrogance of people who have to pay a large amount of money to feel they are all that, when they really pay, manipulate, and or coerce people to fake their success. Sharona, you do understand it. No, you do understand it. You nailed it. They think that if they're paying for it, it just proves that they're successful. And if they're successful, well, then they're pillars of the society. These people are more important than the rank and file worthless folks like you and me. Severely base and depraved, says Kathy Santone. And you're absolutely right. Depraved. Nicola Max says, my mom always said there is no fool like an old fool. Yep, you know that. Have I ever seen fights in Vegas? Yeah, the men go in with their granddaughters. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. But honestly, these guys have been doing this for so long that the feeling of these people wouldn't talk to us if I wasn't paying them $4,000 for 2 days. No way they would talk to us. You see, they find a group of guys, and we'll just keep it real. They find a group of guys that probably couldn't go out and get laid in a woman's prison with a carton of cigarettes. And then they give them away where they can bring girls together and act like they're Don Ho, or Rudolph Valentino, because these girls will show up at each one going, oh my God, you're the best. Seriously. Remember the last one? That was 45 seconds. I'm never going to forget. For the love of God, I don't understand how anybody lives that life. Oh, yeah. No problem backing any of this up. No, I read this stuff. I know a lot of people took the high ground and said, I'll just hold on to it just in case. Yeah, I'm not going to hold on to something if I don't know what I'm holding on to, right? For all I know, I start opening these files and there's pictures in those files that I should never be in possession of. And then I'll say to a cop, oh, I didn't know that stuff was in there. No, I checked all that out. Well, Kim is blue. You gotta take the suspenders off, right? And then you got to take off the pants and those garters that those cats wear to keep their socks up. You know the drill. The thing that, is holding the hernia. And it probably takes a good 15 to 20 seconds just to get into the fighting position. Oh, Carol, I'm sorry. I really am. I'm sorry. Your niece is doing it again. And we do this. We want to believe so badly that the next time is going to be the time. You're supposed to keep giving her chances, even if you got to give her 100,000 of them, but don't give her money, right? That borders on facilitating, and that gets dangerous. You don't want to, God forbid, but you don't want to buy the shot that gets her, and that happens, right? Sid Vicious's mother, I think, that's a pretty famous story. But Sid's mom went and got him the money so that he could go and do that. It's just, yeah. Hey, Steffi. Have I said hi to you before, Steffi? Nicolanac says, I met so many old creeps when I was young, and we used to be in stitches at the audacity of them. Yeah. Yeah. Yet they still are sitting there thinking, I am cool as hell. Did you see me the other night? I had 4 20-year-old women on my arm, right? And a completely maxed out credit card that I have to keep going to the bathroom and calling Visa going, please, up the credit limit. I swear to God, I'm good for it. Margaret Kelly Corbett, you are looking fantastic in green. It is your color. I promise you, it's your color. It's a sad group of people that have to do this. And for all of you who say it's boys being boys, if I lived to be 100 years old, 13% of my life will have been spent behind prison bars. And I'm not going to live to 100, right? So a lot of my life went down the shit tubes, and I did it. I'm guilty. I went to prison for stuff I did, right? I don't begrudge that. But if the people sentencing me had brothers whose sons could have walked, if they were treating people differently because they were part of a secret organization, well, that sucks. It's pretty disturbing. You know what I'm saying? And this is the kind of thing that is a recurring theme that just keeps coming back. First time, anyway. Max Kerplank said, those men are fools. These ladies are laughing at their stupidity all the way to the bank. It's true. IMF says, I still don't understand why Fred gets a pass. Well, let me see if I can answer that. And nobody be mean. I get it. Nobody be mean, right? I get it. This is completely legit, right? And we all would really like to give him a pass for 2 reasons. Number one, this poor girl has never caught a break. And the first break she caught was this guy. And I do believe that he never went to a function or did any of that while he was with her. I believe that. I do. Do I believe that during the time he was in there, he was an ace? No, I don't. No, I don't. I'll bet you he was a stone cold piece of crap while he was in there. But I don't have a right to say that out loud. That's a speculation, right? But everybody else in there is. But I would have ripped off you. I would have broke into your car. I would have taken your purse. I would have taken your wallet, right? I would have broken into your house. I would have done anything. And if I had to punch you in the head to do it, to protect me from having to go to jail, I would have done that too. And I just needed to come up with the money for dope, right? What they're doing is really foul. What I was doing was really, really foul. What I was doing might be worse. I mean, I would feel better about it because that's just kind of who I was. But what I was doing, I was breaking a lot of laws. But I went to prison and I did my time for it. These guys don't feel like they should ever have to do time because they're pillars of friggin' society. Right? They're pillars of society. I'll tell you something else. I never thump religion here because it's, although it's my channel, I don't want to put anybody into a situation where they're stuck listening to the things that I believe. It's not that kind of channel, you know. But I do believe, right? And I researched the hell out of it. I wanted not to believe. I set out anyway. I don't thump it here, but there's a special place in hell for the hypocrites who scream out of one side of their mouth what a great Christian they are, and then they walk through the back door of the whorehouse if she can sneak them in between two of his brothers. Don't want to bum out this one. After all, I'm very close with him, so I don't want to steal your sex. What is a private, by the way? A private is you don't share your girl with all of your brothers. So disgusting. You know, Tommy, it must be theirs to be a lost soul. I admire Reese for being so brave. It's not easy. No, it is not. No, it is not. We all have inherent worth and inherent claim to redeem ourselves as many times as possible. He was in his 90s when she met him, and he certainly could have seen his error in his ways and changed his course. He absolutely could have. Or maybe not. But I sure as hell can't answer to that, right? So I'm going to defer to the girl that was there the entire time, right? And when you hear her talk about him, she lights up, right? There is something very, very real that if I can put up with it, I'm sure that everybody else can. Thank you, Angie. The difference is that you accept what you did and you change, and now you have this amazing community. Thank you so much. I'll be honest, man. I got a really cool seat in this amazing community, but I'm really lucky to be here. I'm just like you guys. I just have a really cool chair. Thank you guys, but I feel stupid in all my decisions. My son and daughter told me I've got to let her not let her in my house again, and I can't let her. Not only is she draining my purse, she drained my soul. Carol, that's the threat, is what this is going to do to your soul. And then, God forbid, right? God forbid, tough love is sticking around with someone and trying to help them, but not giving them any more money. It's tough to not give them cash because they freak out, don't they? I mean, they lose it. I used to be that guy, but I went out and did things. I wasn't the guy that could beg for it. I just couldn't do it. There are people made that way. I'm not one of them. Deanna Downey says, Fred chose Reese over the Royal Lord of Jesters, and that is what gives him a pass. You know, and I think that is probably the case. Again, I don't know. I wasn't there. He was a member of a society that's pretty disgusting. But by all accounts that we can come across, he wasn't spending any time at these functions, you know, for the vast majority of the end of his life, certainly all of the time that he knew Quibs. And the only thing I'm going to judge this cat on is how he treated my friend. And it seems that he treated her very well. And that's good enough for me. And it should be good enough for anybody else. I mean, for the love of God, if the guy is made into a ghost and a saint, well, I'm the guy that has to compete with that. I think the rest of you could probably chill out. You know what I'm saying? If it's not bumming me out, I think you can get through this. Tough it up a little bit. I got faith in you. Kathy Ann says, tough love is loving even when they say they don't. I used to say tough love is about 16 inches of rope that I'm going to tie from my belt loop to yours, hip to hip. You want to go in the bathroom and drop a deuce? I'm going with you. Because if you're going to figure out a way to get high, that's where it's going to be. And I am not, right? Not going to play that game. Nickel Max says, anyone can find redemption. Maybe Fred did rip, and you certainly have, Tommy. God bless you. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people do their time without going to prison. I promise there's a lot of people in prison that don't have bars around them. And Kestrel's right. He wasn't active when he was with her. And I'm not judging people for what they did in the past. I'm not. Right? If I do that, then everything I've laid out, there's 2,000 videos you can go watch. I talk about all of the crap I did in my past, and a lot of it is foul. Right? But you guys don't judge me for that. Or if you do, you're very quiet about it. So I think old Fingers Fred Harley get a pass. I had a father and 5 older brothers who were master masons, and they were never doing what jesters do. My mom would kick heights if they did. Kim Roy, once again, I've always done the full disclosure thing. I was invited to join the Masons at a time in my life where I joined. I was not in long. And I never saw anything other than parties where guys would get together and drink, and not even very debaucherously. There was a silly kind of an initiation thing. But it was very much a social club. Now, I don't know what happens when you start getting up to the 7th and 8th and 9th and 32nd and 33rd. I don't know. I can't speak to any of that. But nobody ever tried to invite me into the shrine or anything else. I think they may have been able to just sort of look around and go, I think this dude's a crumb. I mean, that may have been it, because I was definitely doing bad things at that point. Sharona says, I don't blame Reese for holding on to her memories of Fred and how he treated her. She didn't know what the ROJ was about when they were together. He'd stopped doing it. No one should want to ruin that. I agree with you. And I'll tell you something. There are times where she decides that that she needs to work through that a little bit. And there's been multiple times in the time that we've been friends where she said, hey, you know what? I want to talk. And she might spend an hour or two. And it's usually just listening to her, because she'll work through the stuff in her head, which is really healthy. It's really healthy. You know, you got these douche nozzles out there that are going, she's a Scientologist. She's a Scientologist that goes to more therapy than anybody on planet Earth. Right? Scientologists don't do that. And to say she's a Scientologist after she's left is offensive. It really is. But they're pretty tough around women. Yeah, Kim Roy, the Shriners. I mean, look, there have been jokes about the Shriners being guys that go to prostitutes. It's in our culture. There are jokes about it in Family Guy. There are jokes about it in The Simpsons. There have been songs written about it. It's just one of those common, it's such a part of society that we just go, no big deal. What's the big deal? Guys in fezzes just do that stuff. We all need and deserve grace. Yeah, absolutely. The space to choose better, to leave judgment of ourselves and others at the door, and the opportunity of grace can be that healing space for those that choose it. Kathy, that's beautiful. That really is. Oh, that's beautiful too. You guys are on fire. Sometimes meeting a person you love can make you want to be a better person. Maybe that's what Fred found in Reese. You know what? I'd be willing to bet you money that that's what Fred found in Reese. Right? For real. I did. It absolutely has that effect on me. I'm mother loving shocked that it just didn't have any effect at all on the last one. At all. AJ Speak says it's got to be heart-wrenching to try to go figure out stuff about Fred, but she shines when he is talked about. Let her grow. I agree. And I stay out of that subject matter like the plague. Like the plague. I'm not going to compete with that. I don't have any desire to compete with that. He's a saint. He is. I mean, when people pass, they become saints. That's not a bad thing, but we do that. We saint people, right? I remember my dad. My dad, when he was getting close to the end, said, "Don't you let them do that to me. Don't you let them say I was perfect. Don't you let them say I was calm all the time. You tell them the truth. You talk about who I was." He was serious about it. He said, you know, some of the biggest asses in the world. He goes, and I have a heart attack, and people call and go, he was the nicest guy, man. I'd give you the shirt off his back, salt of the earth, just a great dude. And half the people there are going, the hell are they talking about? We ought to bury Nick, right? That was a dick. Tommy, you are the best of friends. Lending your ear to help Reese talk through it is one of the greatest gifts you can give another human. Thank you for doing that for your friends. Yeah, and it's hard. It is, because there are times it's like getting your heart ripped out, because you're competing with a saint. I'm so glad Reese kept everything. She saved it all. I thank God she has you, Tommy. Well, thank you. And you all help every single one that you do your best to support me right now. Carol, love you. Love you. Working the Shrine Circus, selling stuff as a Job's daughter. Those Shriners were grabby with us. Oh my God, that is so nasty. That is so nasty. 85% of the Masons at all levels. Some just go to these elite branches, but there are amazing people amongst the yuck. I agree with you. The Shriners used to ride crazy little cars around in any parades in my hometown. In mine too. And I always thought it was the coolest crap in the whole world. They'd get those cars, as a kid, I just wanted to be in those cars, and they had really cool hats, and very often they were dressed as clowns. And by the end of the night, they were just being debaucherous. Thank you, LeBones. It's a very nice thing to say. That's a really beautiful thing to say. I think that we have something very, very unique. Our senses of humor really kind of play off each other. Kathy Ann is great with the shorts that she makes. We don't have anything to do with that. She decides what she's going to make shorts out of, and she's good at it. She finds really, really funny stuff to put it together. But there was the one where the wolf fly had come into the office. Quibbs thought it was a wolf fly as opposed to a horse fly. But there's a segment in there where we start describing the fly. And I was like, that thing's got a helmet on it. She's like, yeah, the tattoo. If you listen to that whole thing and realize that we're just doing that on the fly, right? That's one of the craziest things. It really is. It is so much fun to just do shows and riff with Quibbs, because she's incredibly quick on her feet. She's got incredible comedic timing. And if you bring this stuff up, she looks at you like a brown lab does. Head kind of kicks to the side like she has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. But her sense of comedy and her timing is just the funniest crap in the whole world. Debbie, it really was funny. It really, really was. In my opinion, you both found each other as truth tellers, and honesty is the only way to live and grow. You met your match, Admiral. Well, thank you. There, I knew Kathy Ann. Thank you. Kathy Ann just put the link up to that, and you guys really should look at it because it is very, very funny. Yeah, the clown cars are what we used to call them, the itty bitty little clown cars. You know something? We can't discount that they've done amazing work to help so many kids that couldn't pay for medical care. God bless them, right? But it's a much nicer way to justify your tax exempt status. You're giving something back. And for doing that, you're victimizing some women and acting stupid, right? But imagine doing the same thing and going, no, just going to party. Just going to party, man. This is all about mirth. Beth, Tommy, I adore you both. So excited to see what your future holds. So am I. Well, in the near future, I'm going to back up and be headed back to Bug Tussle. I got some things I need to finish up here, and then I'm going to be heading back to Bug Tussle. And for the foreseeable future, we're going to kind of go that route. We're going to go that route. Probably bring Quibbs out here and so that we can, we're going to split our time. We're going to be going back and forth between the humid and the arid, right? Well, yeah. A cat in every state. It's going to be incredible. All kinds of decisions to make. And in the interim, I like the idea of going back and forth. I have a beautiful home here, people. I really do. I got a great house. Where are you, squirrel nut zipper? Yeah, get up here. It's the end of the show. Diva. This is what happens when you go out of town for a while. Then you just got to do this one. Of course, that Siamese cat. You know what I mean? When you're doing a show and you're getting ready to the end, that Siamese cat is there like that. Or kid, you talk about a consummate professional. Yeah, I knew that guy. I'm sorry, but she's a professional. This diva crap you're doing is getting just a pinch annoying. What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, she's just... There's no dealing with her. There's absolutely no dealing with her. This is what happens when they come to realize that they're the biggest star on the show. Most people show up for the cat in the basket. We all know that. Oh, well, she's crunching now. All right, Knight Rider. Would that be the Knights Industry 2000? Ain't no way, Knight Rider. Ain't no way. Yes. Well, there will be a couple of there are going to be a couple of squirrel videos going up tomorrow. I've actually got a lot of cat videos in the can. Beth Smith, it is. Tucson is gorgeous. So is Tennessee. And we've got two great spots. We really do. Even though I'm in the city, I'm not in the city. I'm really not. There's a decent chunk of land that the house sits on. Barbie says, I found Reese when she first started chatting with Aaron and set up her channel. She had this innocent wonderment that I loved about her. And one of the warmest people ever. She is infectious. She really is. Yeah, Mary. Well, the cat works me. I don't know if you saw the last video, but when Squirrel wants to go outside, she's just really hard to say no to. I'm not very good at it, I'm afraid. She talks all day long. She also talks like that at 4:00 in the morning. Like she just gets a hair across her, decides that this is it. It's time to wake up Tommy, right? And she'll get right up next to me. So she's, 1.5 feet, 2 feet away, and just start, wah, wah, wah. There you go. What the hell are we doing? The middle of the night. This today, no joke. Do you know why she did it? Because she had a little gray number between her paws, right? Just as proud of herself as you could possibly imagine. Got up and started walking back and forth like, look what I did, Dad. Look what I did, Dad. Huh? Look what I did. And then immediately the little gray thing, I told you, she doesn't like killing him. She has a catch and release kind of thing going with him. All right, we'll see you guys next week, right? I go and release the thing out back. It sneaks back into the house. She catches it. It's the stupidest thing in the world. But if I didn't do it, hey, good to see you, Watts. If I didn't do that, then my partner's going to crap all over me and go, did you kill it? Why did you have to kill it? Why could you just... The cats are the boss. Mine are spoiled rotten. Yeah, this cat runs the house. Tampa B, man, there you are. I didn't even see you. Tampa, have you been here the whole time? I'm sorry. It is a catspiracy. Yes, it is. A catspiracy. I like that. You know why cats run this place? Because they deserve to. They are so much cooler than we are. For real. Do you think cats talk about each other behind their backs? Do you think cats are conniving to... Yeah? Seriously? Have you seen that cat clean her face? I haven't seen her clean her face in 2 weeks. She's just disgusting. Just disgusting. For real. We're just, we're not like that. Not like that. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. You are always here. I love that about you, Tampa Bay. I really do. All right. I guess we've gotten to that time of the evening where we call this thing a wrap. I'm going to go get a little lemon juice and water. And then I'm going to eat that gummy. There you go, trolls. That's right. You heard me. I'm going to eat that gummy and then I'm going to fall asleep. There is a reason the Egyptians worshipped cats. I say that all the time, right? I don't know how much else they got right, but damn, they really thought cats were cool. And I respect that. Barbie, you have a good night too. The Bones, have a good night. Tampa B, have a great night. Is that who I think it is? Martha, have a good night. Spike, Mayor's Girl, Mary, Guacaholic, Kim is Blue, Joni Allen, Night Rider. Yeah, we got a crew. All right, people. We're going to be doing something tomorrow morning. All right. We'll be putting up some content tomorrow morning. So do stop by in between now and then. Reach out and try to save somebody. And you know what, people? This is a pretty smart audience. It really is. It's a pretty smart audience. A lot of you go over and watch the legal stuff, whether you're watching Nick or whether you're watching Zach or any of the people that do, the law kind of channels. When I said, I don't know, 7-8 days ago, yo, you're out of your element, for real. The big red button will chew you up and spit you out. If you're brand new at this and old, I wouldn't recommend this as a platform to come in and start fighting around on. I just wouldn't. B. Hartling says, I knew when I saw you and Reese interacting during the game night on Aaron's channel that you were destined to be together. Once those invisible strings show up, it's impossible not to see them. Well, I'll be damned. You realize that was the first night that I ever saw her. That first time she dropped that panty hamster thing. She absolutely killed me. I laughed so hard. There's some great shorts that came off of that too. All right. Now I really am going to leave. It's hard to get away from you guys. Really is, because I dig you. Hey, Sarah. But Yadira, I'm glad you're here. So tomorrow morning, people, between now and then, you know what to do. Reach out there and try to save somebody. You spoiled diva. Worthless.